help us do that, then it'll make us better as coaches for this community. So I'll turn it over to Sam. Sam, appreciate you coming.
Hey guys, thank you for giving me your time. Basically, I'll give you a little introduction about myself, and then today I plan on going over 3 different fundamental basketball drills that you can use in your practices, and specifically how to cater them to different skill levels, and how to also adjust them throughout the season so you can see people's progression and player skill development. So first off, like you said, my name is Sam Dowell. I'm the graduate assistant for the men's basketball team at JMU. I started coaching my sophomore year of high school, and I actually coached girls basketball. My sister's, I think it was 3rd through 5th grade as well. And then I've been coaching ever since, so that's 8 years. So if everyone wants to introduce themselves, I guess say their names. I don't know if you guys know each other, and say how long you've been coaching, or if this is your first year, and then we can move on from that. So if you want to start in the front.
I'm Preston Grog. I've been coaching for 3 years.
Ryan Wade, this is my first time.
David Haywood, 3rd year.
Mike Murphy, my first year.
Josh Matthews, Ellsworth.
Lisa Matthews, Aylesworth, it's our 7th year.
Okay, so we have a nice mix of some experienced vets and then some new people. So hopefully I can give you some stuff that'll help you out in practice. Basically, I'm going to explain, demonstrate, and then kind of help you guys apply these 3 fundamentals that you can use in practice. We're going to work on form shooting, ball handling, and some defensive drills. And I hopefully these are applicable to you. The beautiful thing about basketball is there's a million ways to do every single drill. It's all about your preference. So maybe you like these, maybe you can think of a way to use them the way that you want to. So first off, through my coaching, the biggest challenge I had, especially with the younger youth, I did basketball camps and all that kind of stuff, is there's a huge difference between skill level. You got a couple girls 5th grade who are bigger, faster, stronger than all the other girls. You're definitely a lot better. And then you have what I like to call the little Susies who bless their hearts. They can't even make it to the basket from the free throw line. They can barely shoot a layup. They can hardly dribble. This is their first time ever playing. So you kind of have to balance both those skill levels and still make practices fun for the kids and also help them develop at the same time. So if you're doing really basic stuff and not helping the experienced girls, they might get bored, that kind of stuff. And if you're doing too complex stuff, then the people with the basic skills aren't really going to get that much better. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is form shooting. Now the 3 topics that I picked specifically because I feel like they're a great base to start out and help the girls practice by themselves after and take these skills year after year and really help them get better. And I think form shooting is an extremely important skill. If they learn how to follow through the right way, then their shooting will definitely get better than if they just start shooting off the bat. So has anyone ever heard of BEEF before when it goes to teaching shooting? Anybody?
What was it called?
It's an acronym called BEEF, B-E-E-F.
Yes.
Would you like to tell me?
Balance, eye, elbow, follow through.
Right. So basically, and I like to use this acronym to teach people how to shoot because it's really simple, and I feel like when you're teaching kids, if they have something to think about, it's a lot easier to remember. So if I could have a volunteer come up here and I'll demonstrate how I would teach BEEF. Anybody? Doesn't matter. All right, so say this is little Susie right here. She doesn't really know how to shoot, so we're going to go over BEEF to kind of teach her the fundamentals. So the first letter in BEEF is B, which means you're going to be on balance. So if you're on balance, that means have leg stance, shoulders a little farther, feet a little farther than shoulder width apart. You're going to bend your knees a little bit, and you want your shoulders forward as well, because your body movement is going to be forward instead of fading away. So the second one is elbow. So you can have an imaginary ball, and you're going to tuck your elbow in, and you're going to kind of hold the ball in an imaginary pocket. So you're going to hold the ball, yeah, pocket. And we're going to use our guide hand on the side of the ball. Good, and your hand behind the ball. So this is in your pocket. The second E is for eyes. So you're going to face the rim with your eyes. So what I like to tell the kids is to look at the back of the rim. So if they're focusing on that, and they're focusing on getting the ball over the front of the rim. So that's a good place to look for focus. And then, so once we have balance, elbow, eyes, you're looking at the rim. The last is the follow through. So we're going to go straight from the pocket, right up into the follow through. And then another cool acronym I like to use is tell them to go get the cookie out the cookie jar. You know, when you're a little kid, you're reaching for the cookie jar, like right at the top of the shelf. You got to kind of bend your hand to get it in there. So tell them when they're following through, go get the cookie out of the cookie jar. And that kind of helps them really follow through. So basically, once we teach them that, we'll do form shooting. You can sit down. Thank you so much. So we do form shooting at a couple baskets. And I don't know, in your facilities, are you just going to have one basket at each end?
10 foot.
10 foot, okay. So, yeah, so basically, like, as soon as they come in, you can do this just at the start, go grab a ball, just shoot 2 feet away, just work on the form shooting, get in the follow through, and they going in, and basically, so just have them do that to start out. You can have challenges like shoot 10, see how many you make out of 10, and then the next person until everybody gets there. And then once they start like making a lot of them, you can even raise the bar, so you'd be like, all right, now you have to make them, but it only counts as if it's a perfect switch. So if it hits the rim and still goes in, it doesn't count. So then that's kind of like raising the difficulty, and so the same drill, it's making it harder and improving their game as well. And then once they get good at that and they're knocking it down, every time tell them to take a couple steps back and then do the same thing. Has everyone ever heard of J.J. Redick before? Shooter, he played at Duke, he's in the NBA right now. His dad he's one of the best shooters in the NBA. He didn't let him shoot threes, like all until his junior year of high school, because he focused on form and shooting it the right way, because the further out you go, the more you have to use legs and more arms and everything, so it makes your shot like not as pure. So he worked on pureness in the form, and then once he got strong enough, moved him out. And because of it, he's one of the best shooters today. So by helping these kids who never really shot before or developed their form, teaching them good form at the start, and then moving them out as the season progresses, moving forward, I feel like it'll definitely help them out. So that's the form shooting. The next one I want to talk about is dribbling. Now, this is a cool drill that I like to use a lot. If I could get four volunteers this time, it doesn't matter, just so I can show the drill.
How am I supposed to take notes?
Mental.
It's on film.
All right, so basically we're going to work on ball handling. As you saw just from the tryouts out there, we have some people that can barely dribble it with their right hand. Some can do a little bit of both. So a great drill to start out is, I'm going to say, I need 3 people to line up about, so we're going to have one right here facing me, one about 3 feet behind him, and 3 feet behind him. So you're going to be my dribbler. Now what you guys want to do is stick your arms out to the side. Now the reason why I have them do this instead of just going over cones is because it teaches the kids to stay low when they're dribbling and develop good habits instead of just dribbling upright, because in the game you want them to stay low. So we would just start out real basic. I say dribble with your right hand, go down the right side, and come back to the right side. And so you don't have to, but just to see, you would do that. And so then once they get good at that, then you can do left. Yeah. So go right, staying down the whole way. Awesome, and coming back. Sweet. and so then once they get the right, then we would do the left side. And so for the first practice, you would do that until they got good at it. Once they get good at right and left hand, then you can mix it up a little bit, and you could add in crossover, back and forth. And you can do this as the season progresses, so like, once they're getting the hang of it, then you go on to the next one. Another cool thing that I really like about having the kids here instead of just using cones is if you put your hands out again, and then say, I would say, all right, each person, you gotta put a number out with one of your hands. So it doesn't matter what. So then when the girls go by, they have to call out the number, so they have to keep their eyes up looking at you instead of focusing at the ball. So they would have to say 2, and then go on to the next one. 1, go on to the next one. 1. And so that teaches them to keep their eyes up as well as staying low. So you're kind of adding more things as the season goes along. So they're getting better at the same time. Instead of, if you had cone, just being like, all right, keep your eyes up, stay low. Now you can say that, but it doesn't really force them to do it. So this is a fun way for them to do it. Kind of both ways. And the beauty about this drill is you can advance it as the season goes on and make it harder and still make it fun at the same time. So thank you.
Yeah, good drill.
Thank you. So that's that. All right, and then the last one that I want to go over is defense. Basically, I firmly believe defense is one of the most important skills in basketball, but it's really hard to get kids to buy in because it's also the hardest and it takes the most effort and energy. So the trick that I battle with is how do you make defense fun for them to do, but also teach defense. Because especially at this level, if your kids know how to stay low and play defense, you're going to win a lot of games because not that many people can shoot. So if they can keep people in front, then they'll be really successful. So I thought about this a lot. How do you make defense fun? Before I go into how to make defensive fun, does anyone want to come up and show me the proper defensive stance that you should be in?
Sure. Why not?
All right.
It's been a few years, but I think I
All right, well, let's see it.
I'm gonna
Shake
get
the
wide
rust
open,
off.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
get my hands out wide,
All right.
I'm gonna slide.
Now, when you get low, do you want to be on the heels of your feet or the balls of your feet?
I would say balanced, kind of
Balanced?
forward maybe,
Okay.
head leaning forward.
All right, that's good. He said it exactly right. You want your feet a little bit wider than your shoulders. Again, you want to be down in athletic stance with your hands out, ready to slide from either side. And one more thing is when you slide, you want to lead with the foot in the direction that you want to go. So if I'm sliding, I want to lead with the right and come back with the left. Lead with the right, come back with the left. You don't want to crisscross like this. So that's how you slide. All right, cool. So to make defense fun, I've done a whole bunch of different things, and it's really as creative as you want to be. But I've used the Z drill. Is there some?
Yeah, I got some.
I can use this too.
Go ahead.
So if we got our little basketball court right here. So basically, the Z drill teaches them to slide and it teaches them to pivot at the same time. So we're just going to use the half of the court, and what they're going to do is they're going to start here, and they're going to slide diagonal to half court. And then once they get a half court, they got to pivot and slide diagonal facing the basket. Then they got to pivot, slide diagonal this way, and then pivot and slide diagonal back. Now, if you just had them do it like that, some girls would kind of think that's, I'll leave that up there, would kind of think that's like punishment, like, oh, this isn't fun, this is tiring, and all that. So, what I like to do is think of some fun ways to get in a defensive stance. So one thing I did with my sister's team is I basically told them, all right, You guys are all the Queen of England, so we're gonna curtsy, like we're the Queen. So we're gonna curtsy down low, get in a defensive stance, and you gotta talk in a British accent as you go across the whole thing. And so the girls loved it because they're just walking, and I have a terrible British accent, so I'm not, but I like tea and crumpets, and they're like going across the whole thing, and so they're having fun, but at the same time, they're staying low and emphasizing the defensive stance. Another thing is get in your sumo stances, they get down low and act like sumo wrestlers and going across. The whole thing is to teach them to stay low as they're doing the drill. Because for defense, if you stay low, you can stay with anyone. But if you stand up playing defense, then you're going to get beat. So teaching them that habit to stay low the whole time is really crucial, especially for them moving forward. Another great defensive drill that I like to do is called defensive boot camp. And I can actually explain this with you guys staying in your seats. So basically, we would work on slide right and slide left at the start. So then I would have you guys all there are getting your defensive stances or sumo stances or whatever you want to call it. And then you can make like funny names for like slapping the floor and stuff like that. So I say slap the floor, everyone slaps the floor. I say go right, and you guys would all go right, go left, and you can make like cool names up for it too. Jump up and get the rebound, you have to go get the rebound. And as the season progresses, you can add more and more defensive elements to the defensive boot camp basically. And then you can kind of have a lot of fun with that by like I said, making different names for it and all that. You can teach closing out with a hand up, add that into it, just keep adding more and more things so you can work on multiple things at the same time. Retreat step and all that. So I would definitely encourage you to start out basic and then add more and more as the season progresses. Let's see, how am I doing on time?
You're at 17 and a half.
17? Okay, cool. All right, so now that I've kind of showed you one defensive drill, one dribbling drill, and one form shooting drill. Your kids basically have a basic fundamental for shooting, for ball handling, and for defense. So what I want you guys to do is I'm going to, I guess we'll just go across the room and one by one, if you could name a drill that you've done in the past, a basic drill that you've done, and then if you could kind of explain how you have kind of made it progressive across the season and kind of added stuff to it so that your kids have gotten better. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier, but the beauty about these drills is save for little Susie, who can't even like make a free throw or anything. She might not score a point all year. She might get one rebound all year. So how does she have fun and still know that she got better and have a good time? These drills are a great way of doing so, especially for the form shooting. Say the first day she came in, she made two shots from like 2 feet away. She could barely get it up there. If you keep working with her and doing that, by the end of the season, Mom, I made 8 in a row. I made 8 shots in a row. That's a great improvement for her. She could just dribble right-handed, and now she can dribble left and cross over because you kept doing the drill, kept adding stuff. She'd be like, hey, Mom, during the season, I learned how to do the crossover. I learned how to do the in and out, that kind of thing. So practice is a great way to help, especially your lower level and newer players, improve. And it's basically their own game because they're improving and learning that way. Because in the games, they might not really have the opportunity to get that many stats like some of the more skilled and experienced players. So what I'm going to do, and we'll actually, since there's 2, 2, and 2, we'll just do teams since we don't have much time. I'm going to give each of you, so you two can pair together, a simple category. Take a couple minutes to talk it over, and then you can come and share a drill that you've used or that you just thought up to everybody. Run 2 layups?
They're too young.
Okay. I try to keep it as simple as possible. and it's-
They're too short.
Too short.
Let me see.
Did you see tonight?
I'm gonna give
We
you.
teach,
missed that.
we try to teach them layups, but we don't do drills on layups. We're working on dribbling.
Alright, let me see.
We're working on defense. We're working on position. We're working on passing.
You can have position. Listen.
Okay, position. Well, now just give me nice try.
Yeah, we didn't say how you're gonna do it. Alright.
Our position.
You got passing, it's pretty simple. Alright. Just give me a heads up once you guys have a drill, guys are ready. I guess we could start in front while we give them a chance to write that down. So passing, you guys wanna go first?
Yeah, that's fine. We were saying start stationary on passing, we just check basic passing, chest pass, bounce pass, overhead pass, and then once you keep progressing, you can move to underneath the basket, free throw line, extend it, and back and forth. And as they're doing that, they do defensive sliding as they're passing back
Awesome,
and forth.
okay.
To give
Incorporate
them
a
an
couple-
idea of moving and passing at the same time, which I'm sure will be a lot more challenging than stationary.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great one. That's a great one. I've actually done that a lot. As far as, now let's just break it up. Since you mentioned passing, how would you teach a chest pass and a bounce pass? So if we're dumbing it down as simple as possible, you said the drills, but how would you actually teach them how to do a chest pass and a bounce pass?
Bounce pass, step by step, I would tell them step with their dominant foot, whatever one they feel comfortable with. Holding the ball at their waist level and bounce it towards the ground. And you want it halfway in between you and the partner or whoever you're passing it to. You don't want to throw it at their feet, and just have a good follow through with their hands going out.
That's good. And then if, a good way to do that too is to put them on both sides of the free throw line, just so they have an idea of where halfway is. So they kind of have a target to aim at.
You could even start them out on the wall
Mhm.
to have the ball come back to them.
Absolutely. All right, good job, good job. What did you guys have?
Rebounding.
Rebounding? Okay, how would you teach rebounding?
I think we would start with, obviously using the ball to miss. So you're gonna have some kids shooting, maybe one kid shooting, one person rebounding. First and foremost, they're maybe face guarding the person, they're gonna spin around, anticipate the rebound, get your hands up, be ready to box somebody out, kind of explain boxing out as the year goes on. And then later progression, maybe look at the outlet pass, rebound, turn, look, somebody calls for the outlet pass, get the ball to court quick. So you kind of incorporate rebounding, communication, and then passing.
That's good, that's good. I would almost break it down even simpler at first, especially with the skill level of these kids. I'll definitely end up as, like at the end of the season where you are, but first I would just say, all right, everyone can get a ball and go to a wall and throw it up, and you want to catch it at its highest point. So you're going to just throw it up and jump up and catch the ball. Just get them, because some of them might not even have the coordination to really catch it coming off. So you want to work on that first. And once they get into actually catching the ball and bringing it down, you can teach them to chin it. That's also a really fun one for the defensive boot camp, is to tell them to go get the rebound. So get the rebound, chin it, chin it, and just have them chin the ball, because that way they're also in motion to pass it out. So you can do that. I would also say, instead of having the kids shoot, because you don't know if the kids are going to airball, where the ball is going to go, I would say that a coach should shoot and you can purposely miss, and that way they get a lot better opportunities to rebound, because you can purposely miss but shoot it towards them, instead of, if you have kids shooting, you're going to have a lot of balls that are going everywhere, and it's not going to be as efficient or effective. I would say that. Do you have any questions on that, or does anyone have anything they want to add to the rebounding that they've done in the past? Good. All right, cool. And you guys had positioning?
Yeah, Yeah, so what we do is we give them paper plates, we have them all line up on the bench, give them paper plates with wings and posts on them, and then we have them run out to where the positions are at. And we put 3 wings on the 3-point line, and then 2 posts where the blocks are at. So it makes it really simple, and then that way they have to work as a team to make sure that they're all in the right positions.
Awesome. Do you have, so, are you just saying, go to positions as fast as you can, or how exactly do they work as a team?
So as fast as they can, and then we time it, and just see if they can do it faster, and kind of make sure that we have them spaced out along the 3-point line,
Okay.
and that they're not all running to the same point.
And then we build in a defensive set to that, and so they'll rotate, so we'll do the drill around, and so they'll switch between offense and defense. And we'll keep on switching those, and then we eventually build it in up to a scrimmage over time, so we progressively build it.
Awesome. That sounds great. That's a good idea. I've actually never thought of doing that before, so you guys just taught me something new. Awesome. All right. So basically, I'm going to end with a little quiz of some of the stuff we talked about, and then I'll open it up to any questions. If you like to ask me any drills that maybe you could do, or just have any questions about anything basketball related. So, what are a couple of the challenges that we talked about dealing with this age group of players?
Difference in skill set.
Difference in skill set. Is there anything else that you guys can think of as far as?
Not even having a starting point or really understanding any of the terminology.
That's good. Terminology is big. I would even say you have to be so basic and simple. It's almost like you're not even adding like plays and stuff right away. Like the difficult thing, as we've seen from the note cards I gave you, is dumbing it down enough, making it simple enough. Because even some simple drills to us might still be too complex for some kids who've never played basketball before.
The other thing is their physical ability. They're short. They don't have the muscles yet.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I talked about free throw, how some of them might not even be able to reach free throw, but talked about layups. Can all these kids shoot layups, or is that?
We don't really focus on that.
Yeah.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, for example, you talked about beef, I mean, it's great in theory to teach them that, and we do work on that, but when you have limited arm strength and you're really short, for some of the kids, it's all they can to just heave it, to
Right.
try to get it to the basket, because it takes all of their strength.
I
just
think
to
on,
keep it that way.
Layup wise, I start out, well, at least the past couple years, I started out teaching them just like shooting a jump shot from the block, and then explaining, getting them running, and then coming to a jump shot, stop and shooting it, and then progressing them to running and actually doing the layup. And that's one thing that killed me is, as a little kid, I would always put it on my shoulder and just heave it up. Well, that's the only way I could get it up there. And with these girls, I'd focus more on not making it, but trying to keep a good, because when they do get stronger, it's going to be hard to break this motion, throwing it from the side and stuff like that. I mean, if they keep shooting this, even though they're not making it in rec league, it'll eventually pay off.
Yeah, and that's why I suggested the form shooting from like 2 feet out, because that way they actually have a chance to get it up there, and they can at least try and use the correct form. Where if they shoot it any farther, like you said, they're going to be pulling back, doing things. So that's the one good thing is, form shooting is at least a start to kind of teach them beef and all that. So speaking of beef, I just want to go over, does anyone remember what beef is? Who didn't know at the start of this presentation? Does anyone remember what the acronym is?
Elbow, eyes, and collar.
Right. Great, you guys listen, you get an A+ for that. All right, does anyone have any questions or anything?
One of the things I would suggest is that we teach the basic rules of basketball. Basic rules, what a travel is, where you're going to throw it in from the inbound. When we're shooting foul shots, let's show them how to line up. Those kind of things that are very, very basic. They need to know what double dribble is. They need to know that when it comes off their hand, it's out of bounds to the other team. Those are kind of basic rules. And I think we do a good job of that, but it's just reiterate that that's part of the game, the intelligent part, the mental part of the game, that they need to know the rules, some of the basic rules, so, that's pretty important.
I was at a Bridgewater camp a couple of years ago. We worked with, we started off at 4-year-olds, which is crazy, and we went like 4 to 6, and one of the drills we did was we kind of had a game which was the tour of the basketball court. So we'd say, we'd say, all right, we're going to the free throw line, and we'd all go to the free throw line. And you think that's simple, but some of them didn't know what the free throw line. Then it was like, all right, we're going to the baseline. We'd all walk down to the baseline, the sideline, the center circle, and we basically took them to all the places on the court that they would need to know. And then after that, we play a game where they'd all like run a circle around, and we'd say, free throw line, and they all have to run to the free throw line. They all have to go to the right place. And so then in a game, if you're trying to communicate something, like, all right, you got to throw it in from the baseline. They know where to go. Or on defense, all right, you got to start out in the middle of the floor at the foul line. They know where to go. So even simple stuff like that, you definitely need to address, because if not, they might not have any idea.
The other thing at this age is they don't know the difference between offense, defense. We found that out. So we started with posters years ago that they hold up when we're on offense versus defense, because they haven't learned that terminology yet. That offense is when we're trying to make a basket. Defense is when we're trying to get the ball. So we talk about that during the first meeting too, is like, what's the point of the game? How many points do you get? And what are the different terminologies?
And fouls, teaching what a foul is, basic foul. Just don't reach, just don't hammer somebody on the arm, just don't push, those things, spacing, those are small things that they could learn very easily. And with this age group, especially with 3rd graders and some of the 4th graders coming in, this is an alien thing. They want to play basketball, but they have no idea what basketball is. And if we can keep it as simple as we can keep it and make sure that they get the first year under their belt, teach as much as they can absorb, and have them come back and make it positive, and have them come back in the second year, man, you got them. Because now they're more attentive, they can build on what they learned the first year, and then by the time they're 5th grade, they got it down. You got it down. So it's a building process with this group, and you're going to tell the ones that are the older ones and the ones that are the younger ones. And hopefully your older ones will be your leaders and your mentors as far as helping you teach some of this stuff. You might not get a whole bunch of those, but there may be 1 or 2 in your team that would help out. So.
And just to wrap up, I said this a couple of times, but in my experience, if anything, just make it as fun as possible. As long as they learn stuff and had fun, then they'll come back the next year, and then, like Tommy said, then they'll have something to build on. But if you just do try and get them to learn this, and your whole practice is just teaching skills, and they're not that good at the skills, and they're not going to have that much fun, and then they might not like basketball. So right now, because this might be their first year, you just got to teach them to love the game and to have fun, and then from then they can come back, and then over the years they'll learn and improve. So I definitely, from what we just got to have as much fun as possible, because that's what they're playing the game for, and that's what they signed up for. So. If you have any more questions, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you guys at some JMU games. They start up soon, so thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, hope he gets an A.